Welcome, dearest earthling. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing this space with me as we explore and embrace and embody our soul abundance during this session together. You know, that just deep new paradigm, unique prosperity that lies within you that you came here with. For those of you who are newer to this space and to maybe me and my work, my name is Rose. Thank you so much for being here and for joining me on this session, this masterclass. I am a cosmic witch. I am a new paradigm business expander for soulpreneurs, modern mystics, intuitive leaders, and in terms of human design speak, I am a mental projector with a 6-2 profile. I'm a Pisces sun, Scorpio rising, Virgo moon for the astrology lovers out there. And really at the end of the day, I share wisdom and guidance from these modalities of human design and gene keys and astrology in my soul work. That's my soul calling and my journey and my path that I'm on. It's been a long and windy path to get here, to get to where I am these days. And it's really this lifetime I've come here to empower you with this knowledge, with this, to give you incredible clarity on this information and this deep wisdom, and you know, to give you that clarity on who you came here to be, what you came here to do, and the karmic journey that you're on this lifetime around. So I really do thank you for being here as we dive into this topic today with this session that is all about your unique soul abundance and empowering you to tap into those potent codes that are completely and utterly unique to you, that are quite literally within your DNA. So I have to start by saying that there are so many places within, you know, your human design, your astrology, your gene keys that essentially speak to this topic or give you clarity on this knowledge about soul abundance and prosperity and wealth. So this is certainly by no means just the only way to explore this topic, but it is the one that I really love to share about and felt really called to speak to in this masterclass. There are other specifically, you know, things within your strategy, your authority, you know, when we're talking about human design, your specific planetary activations, for example, that go into all of those tiny nuances that make you uniquely you and quite literally translate to be your physical embodied DNA that you came here with. So it goes as deep as you want to go, basically. The rabbit hole goes as deep as you want to go. So I absolutely adore being able to dive into just any, you know, depth of detail with you. And we are going to be having a really fun exploration of components of your human design together today. So in this particular session, I'm going to be sharing with you and handing over, I guess, the permission slips that come with your superpowers and the energetic codes that you came here with, that come specifically from your undefined and open centers and chakras within your human design. So if this feels all tingly and exciting already for you, then just wait till I share with you something at the end that is really special and all to do with this topic that's coming much later on. So these undefined and open centers and chakras within your human design, they are what you would see when you look at your chart as the white shapes within your human design chart. You know, they might have lines attached, either red or black, you know, half little lines, but the actual shape itself is white. There may be some that are colored in. You might only have one or two white centers or chakras. You might have none at all. If you have none at all, then by all means, this training and this session gives you a great understanding of the potential that you have within you. However, as someone who maybe, if you have all 9 centers or chakras defined, or equally, you know, if you're a reflector and have all undefined and open, you know, those are two extreme ends of the spectrum that are very, very unique soul paths. And when you have all defined, you're kind of a very self-resilient being anyway. So you came here and you know what you're all about. So, you know, exploring the undefined and the open centers and chakras is a really beautiful permission slip for, you know, kind of 99% of the world or more who all have some degree of unique composition or, you know, a mixture of these energetics within their unique soul blueprint. So these are the places and spaces and energy centers within us where we absorb and amplify the energetics of the world around. So wherever you have a white space within your human design chart is where you are most open to taking on board, to absorbing, and for amplifying the energies that are coming in through that particular part of you and your energetic body, your aura, your design. And it's potentially where you will experience over your lifetime the most conditioning, whether that is from a young age with your upbringing, your family, your friends, your environment, your surroundings, you know, all of these things that go into forming who we are at a really early age. That if we have, you know, white centers and chakras in our design, the openness, the undefined space and places, we are taking on board and soaking up like a sponge everything that surrounds us, and we are also amplifying it. And that process that we go through over life of suddenly coming to realizations about that, realizing what's not ours that we've taken on board, doing the deconditioning work, the flushing out of these spaces and places so we come back to our true center, our true self. That is all part of our process that we are all always undergoing for that deepest transformation. And that's why these deep, deep transformational experiences are your soul abundance. You know, when we're talking about these potent codes that your soul came here with in this lifetime to share, that depth and absolute growth that you go through on that journey to, you know, gathering and collating your unique sources of wisdom and knowledge and experience and your stories, that can only come from you alchemizing that energy in the way that is completely unique to you. And as I say, that comes from things like your human design strategy, your authority, your planetary activations, your profile. All of these things come into play here. And that is going to be 100% unique to you and to your lived experience. So as a soulpreneur, all of this that you will have gone through and continue to go through as well, right? Because these undefined and open centers and chakras are not like a one and done thing. We don't just do it once and then it's all over and done with and we never have to go back and revisit. We never have to decondition ever again, or, you know, that's complete bullshit. We are constantly going through, we are constantly picking up on things. We are constantly, you know, running it through our nervous system. We are constantly passing it through our own strategy, our own authority to determine, like, does this thing align for me? Does it resonate for me? Is it mine or is it someone else's that I've taken on board and I've held on to probably for a bit too long and I should really now put it down and decondition and, you know, get rid of that energy that isn't actually mine. So these are really powerful, powerful stories. And that's the human experience, right? Is that stories and the power of stories and energies and those unique transmissions that you've come here to share, to show up with, to integrate into your soul work. These are all things that become activated throughout your life. And the more you can infuse these pieces of your unique soul magic through your offers as a soulpreneur, your services that you provide the world or offer to the world or share with the world that people can, you know, pay you for or book in for, or that you collaborate with others on, your coaching programs, for example, your soulpreneur packages that you might have for whatever it is, whether that's an online sort of not physical thing that you are sharing with the world, or whether it is a physical product that you create and sell or create and exchange, or whatever the case may be. The more you can weave these parts of your experience into things like your sales, your sharing of your medicine, your how you uniquely show up and shine brightly, whether that's through your marketing, your social media, your in-person, things that you might take part in or speak to or share, you know, on your podcast or your YouTube or whatever the case may be. Like, this is where it all interweaves, and this is your unique magic that is absolutely able to shine brightly the more in touch and the greater clarity you have on these parts of you. So that's why I really just love talking about this. This is something that I know is a big part of my calling when it comes to this work, due largely in part to the fact that I am, as a mental projector, so mental projectors are about on par with reflectors. You know, there's only around about 2% of people have a human design that is a mental projector energy type. And the key component when it comes to that is that we have no definition below the throat chakra. So we only can have either the throat chakra, the ajna, or the crown defined. And in my case, I only have my ajna and my throat chakra defined, and everything else is undefined and open, including my head, my crown. So I have 7 undefined and open centers and chakras, and trust me, she's an experience living with this, and it's part of my soul purpose to come and, you know, share these transmissions and this knowledge and this wisdom with you, so that you can feel empowered to know what your gifts are, what your magic is, what your soul abundance codes are, that whether you've already, you know, activated them and you're fully, you know, like in there, familiar, have done the inner work and the healing and the transformation, and this is just like your permission slip to really fly with that, you know, aspect of you that you have become very familiar with and intimate with, or whether you have been sitting there going, I really don't know, these feel like they are, you know, often when I first work with someone with their human design, they'll often feel like these parts to them are potential weaknesses or things that they should be doing differently, or that are something that needs to change about them. And once they actually realize what, you know, a treasure chest of absolute abundance they have when they can learn to work with these gifts and these powerful parts of themselves, it's just the most magical thing to see that shift happening, and just that radiance that comes from understanding that this isn't something that you need to get rid of. This is something that you need to actively, you know, nourish and nurture and really allow to shine brightly. So, are we ready to dive in? We are going to be starting with the root chakra. So if you haven't already, grab your human design chart, grab a cuppa even. You can press pause and go grab a cuppa. And we're going to travel through the human design body graph together, covering the 9 centers and chakras. And what you're going to be able to do with this is, as I've, you know, described, is get clarity during this session on where you have those undefined and open centers and chakras within your unique human design, and how this potent soul abundance is really ready to kind of step forward and be at the forefront of your soulpreneur calling and the way you show up and share your magic. So let's dive in, shall we? I'm going to have a sip of water first. So let's start with the root chakra. So I've got a little graphic that's going to come up on the screen so you can see where we are talking about here in the body graph if you're not already familiar with the root chakra. And so, of course, if this is white in your human design chart, this is all to do with your unique insight about what it means to go at your own pace. The root chakra is a pressurized energy center, and it is very much intertwined with our adrenaline, our stress, our go, 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 do, do, do energy. So when it's undefined and open, you are absorbing consistently the energetics of the world around you that are, you know, adrenalized energy, that are stressed energy, that are hustle culture, that are productivity, toxic productivity culture, right? So with this undefined or open, this is your unique transmission and potent magic to share about going at your own pace, in tuning into your own unique energetic cycles, curating your absolute soul aligned productivity and flow, and even what it means to be kind of like counterculture to productivity, right? Like, how do you still go about being absolutely embodying your magic and being the most shining example of someone who is abundant and prosperous and has a successful business, or soulpreneur, existence, life and business intertwined, for example, that is not following like productivity planners or anything like that, right? Like, this is your intuitive ability to be able to guide, lead, teach others, on speaking from your own experience, because typically if you've got this undefined or open in your design, you might have had issues with adrenal burnout, being very overwhelmed, overworked, balancing stress, or even like, having incredibly stressful things happen to you that has led to other, health problems along the way. Burnout is a huge one with, undefined or open root chakra. And it's learning how to dance with that healthy drive, because it's pressurized and it's constantly, wanting you to go and do more and be more and achieve more and have that enormous to-do list. Like, I joke that this is the part of me that, if left kind of to its own devices, is trying to take over the world every single day without fail, and screw the rest of my energetic body. My root chakra is like, we are going to take over the world, and this is my 5,000 item to-do list, and you will get all these things done. And I've had to do an enormous amount of inner work to be comfortable with getting that list down to maybe, say, 3 things that are of importance, and that is all I am achieving in that particular day. And even if I don't achieve those things, it has no reflection on my self-worth. It has no reflection on the success or not of my business. It has no reflection on anything. It just purely means that that item is there for another moment in time for me to, attend to, or even delegate, right? For example, there's big energy here around how you structure things, say, for example, within your soulpreneur business. Do you delegate? Do you have VAs? Do you have in-person people that work with you in your business? Do you have collaboration so that you can share the workload? All of these things are your unique transmission and wisdom to share. So those tools and techniques and methodologies and ways of being that you've learned to get into harmony with in your own life are really, really important. So key things that you can kind of highlight here, that if you're a note taker, like I am usually, you can brainstorm on, what is your story when it comes to stress, for example, in your life? Have you managed it? How have you curated a life that is full of ease and flow, for example? And, have you done anything that has reduced that feeling of overwhelm or burnout or stress in your life? What does freedom mean to you? That's another big keyword when it comes to an undefined or open root chakra. Did you have that transformational moment in your life when you stepped away from the cubicle, the 9 to 5, the rat race, the 80-hour work week? What's your story when it comes to that? That's one of your real powerful things to empower others with and to share that story. Did you start your own soulpreneur business even as a, outcome of that type of situation or environment, or something that was just crushing your soul and you needed to step away from that, and that was the moment that catalyzed you stepping into a soulpreneur? Like, what does your work week look like as a soulpreneur, right? Like, that's something that, especially for me, empowering other, projectors and manifestors and reflectors and even mani-gens and generators to go, hey, you know what? Like, if you only want to work 5, 6, 10 hours a week, you can fucking do amazing things and have the most incredibly successful, abundant life by whittling down like the laundry list of things that you're trying to do in your business, and just like focusing in on like what are the things that I actually desire to do and how much time I desire to spend in my business as opposed to my life and with my kids, with my partner, with my family, you know, all of these things, right? What did life used to look like before for you is kind of one of the things here. And then if you are, you know, for example, a healer, how do you share that gift of the undefined root chakra or open root chakra? Like, how do you share that gift of helping other people and empowering other people to relax and to de-stress and to clear their energy, for example? It's very new paradigm business, and there are so many like drops of golden wisdom, like the nuggets that come from this, that are really powerful to share. So our next spot that we're going to talk about is the solar plexus, and I'll have a little graphic that'll show you here what where the solar plexus is, I should say, in the human design chart, in your human design chart. Now, something to know about this is that if this is defined for you, as in if it's colored in, you are in very good company. 50% of people have their solar plexus defined, and if you do, you have emotional authority. Everyone with their solar plexus defined has emotional authority. So just because this section is about an undefined or open solar plexus, I think it's really powerful to still have an awareness of, because in your soul work, chances are you might be working with or alongside other people who have this undefined or open, and that can be really powerful for you to have that awareness of. And also the undefined or open solar plexus is kind of like the crucial piece to the puzzle for emotionally defined, emotional authority people, because we are here to be able to give you that kind of just like chill, cool, calm, collected insight that isn't, I don't want to say compromised by our emotions, but, you know, we're able to always have typically that vantage point that has got clarity. And this is where all of our individual gifts come into play. So if you have it undefined or open, your solar plexus, it means that you're naturally, like your natural state is just like fucking chill. Like you're not going to be someone who goes through day to day like not really knowing how they're going to feel when they wake up. Like you just have got kind of your default setting, and it really does take something external to your life to impact how your emotional state is. And essentially you are constantly absorbing and amplifying the emotions of the world around you. So this is big empath vibes when you have an undefined or open solar plexus, and other people's energetics coming towards you feel a lot like a hot potato. And it's like, we just want to get rid of them. So whatever we need to do, coping mechanisms, people pleasing, avoidance, all of these very, let's just say these coping mechanisms and strategies that we discover, particularly when we're little, when we're children growing up, especially if you've lived in an environment that is highly charged or emotional or traumatic. So there does need to be a lot of inner work done if this is in your design. But it does give one of the deepest spaces for transformation and growth and gifts to share with others. So as I say, 50% of the world around you have got, you know, an emotionally defined solar plexus, and 50% have it white in their design, either undefined or open. So there's constantly this dance of energetics between the two. And I always like to say, you know, the gift of having it undefined or open is that you're able to be that person who can, you know, hold the mirror up essentially to someone with emotional authority and just give them that loving reminder of, actually, if you just sleep on it, actually, if you just take your time making this decision, you know, reminding them of their emotional authority. So if they're feeling like overwhelmed and really emotional out of nowhere, that you can give them that clarity really easily with that quick insight, sort of go, hey, you know what, like, let's just wait for your emotional wave to work its way through. Chances are tomorrow or later today even, you'll be feeling completely different about this. So there's a beautiful wisdom there and emotional intelligence that comes with this part of you. So this might be something that you share in the realm of speaking about stories, sharing your experiences, sharing your soul growth. You know, it's very much also a gift for empowering our collective to reframe what it means to be emotional, for example, you know, to share that wisdom around what it means to be actually someone who came here naturally and every day as an emotional person. You know, while that might not be your experience, you have got the power to be able to share that gift with someone else and to empower them to know that actually it's perfectly okay, perfectly normal for you to have emotions, because of this is something that's going on, you know, and for 50% of people, this is perfectly normal, you know. Normalizing emotional intelligence, normalizing emotional experiences, and being on a spectrum of having emotions that are always going on inside you. For people with emotional authority, like, this is your gift with that undefined or open, to be able to empower other people on their own journey with their emotional authority. And you know, when you can connect really deeply to your wisdom of who you are, who you came here to be, that vulnerability of your journey, of your stories, what your experiences were, what you went through, what it's like to live in the world as an empathic person, those are all really, really powerful things to give yourself the permission slip to kind of show up and share, right? And to interweave and be at the forefront of your work. And that's why, you know, even just hosting this masterclass is one of the things for me. I have a completely open solar plexus, and it's one of the things that I know that hosting classes like this, because I dearly and deeply want to help other people who are empathic, who have, you know, 7 undefined and open centers like me, because there's plenty of generators and manifesting generators who have an abundance of openness in their design and might actually come to a system like human design, for example. And I've had numerous people come to me and say, I don't actually feel like a generator at all because of X, Y, and Z. And once we actually open up their chart and look at their design, we can see how deeply empathic and open they are. You know, they might only have 2 centers defined, and they've got a completely open solar plexus, for example. And so these are the layers and nuances that we can go into to share our stories, share our experiences, share what we went through, our deconditioning, our triggers, you know, and to be able to empower others on their own journey to feel less alone. So it very much is a bringing to the forefront of your work and emotional intelligence to understand. It's sharing openly and vulnerably. And I know for me, like, that's been a big part of my journey, is to get more comfortable with being vulnerable in the content I share, the stories I share, my podcast episodes, for example. You know, it's always an ongoing process for me, but hands down and without fail, the times when I do allow myself to show up in my most vulnerable state, it has the widest resonance and the most incredible feedback, and people connect with me, you know, that I've never even come across before, or they've never come across my work before. So you see how these things, that when they can come into our work and be at the forefront and be at something that we really truly activate within our soul work and our soul gifts, it is so powerful, so damn powerful. So honest stories, sharing stories, like, what more of a human experience is that, right? And to be able to share those things around what you went through, the wins, the challenges, the soul growth, the transformation, that's the real key and the real magic here. So now that we've covered those 2 centers, we're going to hop to the hot point of the body graph, the sacral chakra. And now This is a part of your design that if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, this will be defined for you. So it will be colored in. So really in this moment, speaking to this about an undefined or open sacral chakra, it's only going to be applicable to projectors, manifestors, or reflectors. So generators and mani-gens, just hold tight for a moment. But also, again, similarly, you can have, by listening to this, you can actually have that breadth of understanding and deeper awareness of the potential of the sacral chakra as well. That magnetic vortex power that you have if you're a generator or a mani-gen. So when the sacral chakra is open or undefined, again, it is constantly absorbing and amplifying the energetics of the world around you, and you are part of only 30% of people who have this undefined or open. So the vast majority of the world around you are either mani-gens or generators, and that is one of the most challenging first initial stages for someone who is a projector, a manifestor, or a reflector, especially in soulpreneur business, in, stepping into or kind of going through that process of what it means to follow your soul calling, or build your soul purpose business, for example, because the vast majority of people that you're seeing or around or speaking to on a daily basis have a completely different energetic capacity, alignment, flow, state of natural, just sort of essence and being that is far more driven and consistently energized from within themselves. Undefined or open sacral chakra means that you are not generating, the word generating, right? Like you are not generating that energetic capacity from within you. You are taking it in from external sources, and you are also amplifying those sources. So your energetic flow is a very up and down, ebb and flow, in and out. I have a dear client who calls it like the art of being a ninja, because you have your moments that you're on and then you need time for rest. And that's the most important thing. The gift that comes from here is to empower as many other people who are projectors, manifestors, and reflectors as you can in your soul work and in your soul calling, to have complete trust and faith in their own unique energies and path and journey, and to understand that it is okay to show up in life completely differently to 70% of the world around you. So it is a really powerful gift of wisdom, and being able to share from your own lived experience is one of the most powerful things here. So it's really understanding that with an open or undefined sacral chakra, you will have been typically conditioned very heavily to always be doing, always be hustling, always be on the go, pack your calendar full, schedule your diary till there's no blank, spaces left. You have 8 hours in a work day, so you'd better be filling all 8 hours and doing as much as you can, right? And this is not to say that for generators and manifesting generators, they should be doing this either, because that's complete bullshit. But the old paradigm structures of society and life and the way we have been conditioned to do things is from that very do old fashioned mentality. So if you are a projector, a manifestor, or a reflector, the more you can embrace working and living in a new paradigm kind of way and bring that to the forefront of your soul work, you are going to be giving so many permission slips. And it's all to do with like speaking to what your definition of work is. There's resonance here with if you have an undefined or open root chakra as well, because it's speaking to things like balancing work and life, right? It's if you had any struggle moments or aha moments as you were curating your perfect lifestyle energetically, what was that moment when you found out that you were a projector, manifestor, or reflector, what was life like before? What was it like afterwards? What are your challenges? What are your growth opportunities that you've been through? What have you experienced in terms of burnout, overwhelm, being a workaholic? Because remember, you are absorbing and amplifying that sacral energy. So typically projectors, manifestors, reflectors can kind of have these massive spikes in energy if they've been around and absorbing and amplifying everything, followed by complete collapse. And that's part of my own story, my own journey of going from an existence where I was working like 80+ hour weeks in just complete and utter overdrive and overwhelm, and surrounded by generator energy, and trying to outdo and keep up with and go further and go harder and work longer. And because I was amplifying all that energy, I could for a short period of time, but my health completely collapsed on me. And that was my moment that like flatlined everything, and kind of I had to start again from square one in terms of my whole life and health and all of these things, because the universe kind of went, well, you're not listening, you're not learning from these experiences, you're overriding every signal we're giving you, like all the lights on your dashboard are like flashing at you to tell you that there are major things going wrong. So we're just kind of gonna like let your car break down in the middle of the road. So that was effectively, that's part of my story that I share around going from that intensely overworked hustle culture lifestyle that nearly ruined everything in my life, to now being someone who teaches on this information, who shares this wisdom, who embraces and embodies the lifestyle that I lead of going, hey, look, I work like 3 hours a day, maybe. That's my kind of, sweet spot. And here's all the other things that I have cultivated and curated in my life to make sure that I am looking after myself and living in complete alignment with my energetics. Now, something to know here as well is that there are other components to your human design that, if you have them defined, are called motor centers. So depending on your energetic configuration in your human design, just because you have an undefined sacral does not mean that you don't have some seriously like peppy sources of energy in your design. So that's why like sometimes people will be quite surprised to find out they're a projector, for an example, because they are like, they've got energy to burn, like they're up and they're at it and they're going every single day. And that's because of the particular type of definition they have within their design. So just because you have an undefined sacral does not mean that you don't have capacity to do a lot of things in a day. I always like to sort of, make that as a little like asterisk to talking about this. But there's a very deep wisdom here, other kind of points to, I guess, like explore within your work is anywhere where you have been conditioned to believe that you have to sacrifice and work hard to be a success. Have you been able to transform into a kind of quantum leap mindset? Have you done that inner work to go, it gets to be easy, and this is my, intention every single day within my business, that it gets to be that sort of quantum leapy type energy, and that my workload and my capacity of output has absolutely zero correlation to my financial income, my prosperity, my amount of, people enrolling in my online courses or my programs or coming to my events, for example. And having those boundaries, right? Like, what are your boundaries that you've put in place around working, around how much you give of yourself, around even what you offer within your business? Like, were you someone who at one point in time was completely overloaded with clients and took on so many that you couldn't even breathe, and now you've stripped it right back to say like 2 or 3 or 4 deeply soul aligned clients who are just so incredibly aligned and correct for you, and you are actually making the same amount of money, right? Like, these are all these things that are such powerful pieces of gold and wisdom and transformation that are part of bringing that to the forefront of your soul work is just incredible and is so incredibly powerful and so needed in this new paradigm of business and soul growth and expansion that we're going into. So I'm just going to have a sip of water, but what we are going to explore next is the Splenic Center. So if this is undefined or open in your design, you are someone who has come here to share your gifts around your journey in life, your journey of survival, thriving, what it means to be someone who is deeply intuitive, what it means to be highly sensitized to the world around you, what it means to be highly sensitized to maybe what you put on or in your body. There are big resonances here through the Splenic Center to anything to do with sixth sense, intuitive awareness, healing, all these things that can be part of your story when it comes to your personal experiences in life with things like what it took for you to survive, what it took for you to thrive. So this might be your journey to enrolling in a coaching certification or becoming a healer, doing your Reiki certification. Other things like, did you have a calling to be a doula, for example, a naturopath, someone who works with herbal medicinal properties, someone who is bringing back indigenous cultural practices, someone who is bringing back knowledge and wisdom from indigenous cultures about certain herbs and plants and relationship with Mother Earth and nature, right? This is all this very deep, intuitive, sixth sense kind of interconnection with the world around us. And, you know, I guess just speaking to my own personal experience with this, like that's one of my things with this undefined in my design is about my transformational story of going from being someone who was heavily dependent on alcohol to even function and get through my week, to now being, you know, several years sober in my journey. And this is something that, you know, these stories and our experiences when it comes to that intuitive, inward, survival, thriving essence is really powerful when it comes to the Splenic Center. There's also it's commonly referred to as the fear center when in human design speak, and this is because of that sixth sense awareness. Essentially, it's our most heightened awareness of what's going on around us, right? And you know, back many you know millennia ago, it might have been the thing that kept us alive to stop being eaten by a tiger, whereas these days it's the things that are in our existence around us that, you know, we are transferring those fears onto. So it's that journey of overcoming those fears, transmuting them, alchemizing them, learning to live with them, for example, and learning to be able to empower others who might be on that journey too. So for example, certain activations here you might have, even if it's an undefined center for you, if you've got certain gates activated coming off that, those will be specific things you've come here with to transmute and transform and work through in this lifetime that you can then empower others with. You know, mine, for example, being a fear of running out of time is activated in my chart. And that, you know, much as I was describing before, like you add that in combination with an undefined root chakra, and it's just like, holy shit, we are going to try and burn ourselves out as we try and take over the world because we're afraid of running out of time. We're running on adrenalized pressure. The undefined sacral is like amping up by absorbing all this energy from the world around me. So you can see how these things all interlock, all interconnect, and we all have our own absolutely unique experience of what it is to come here and share these gifts and share this wisdom in the unique way to you. So any miraculous transformations you've had in your life is going to be very resonant and very important to be at the forefront of your work and how you speak to that. How you stepped into your power is another thing to explore sharing more of, or bringing to be at the forefront of the work that you do. And it's very much, you know, any links to, as I say, health and wellness, survival and safety. Like, these are all elements that can be really, you know, things like nervous system work and working through those layers of, if you've been raised in an environment that was highly, you know, charged or traumatic, or had issues that were, you know, essentially oppressive to your experience in upbringing, that were you know, ingrained societal things that were affecting your nervous system from a really young age, like, that's going to be a huge part of your work that you then go on to empower other people with, because you know your journey that you've been on, you know what you've been through, you know how you've transformed. And even those stories, for example, often with money, it's a big one, right? That people might suddenly have this massive success in their business, in their soulpreneur work that they're doing, and suddenly realize that they thought they had healed their money stories, but in fact, they had a whole lot of layers and depth to their money stories that they still needed to work through, they still needed to transform, because of those deep, deep layers of nervous system regulation that needed to go on. So it's a really powerful one, and to tap into and bring to the front of your work. And now we're going to talk about the Heart Chakra, and this is the smallest looking little triangle shape within your body graph. Now, something to know about this is that 70% of the world have this center either undefined or open. So you are in very good company if you have this undefined or open. And this is our home of our kind of drive, determination, willpower, desire to go after our goals and our dreams. And yet, with it being undefined or open, that energy behind all of those things is inconsistent. It ebbs and it flows. It can have moments when it's really amplified and scaled up, and you know, you feel like you can conquer the world and you've got this burning drive inside of you. And then there's going to be other times when you suddenly wake up one morning and you have no will to progress forward. You have no desire to do anything to do in your business. You don't feel called to really chase down your dreams, if that makes sense. So there are big resonances here to self-worth, to money, to success, to making an impact, and the material world as well. So an undefined or an open heart chakra is a really powerful, powerful place to do the inner work on, to go through those layers of what stories did you grow up with, or conditioning did you take on board around, who am I to do this thing? Am I worthy enough to be out there, you know, sharing my gifts? Are people going to consider me good enough? Am I going to ever be able to make enough money? Why do I never seem to have enough money? Or, you know, even down to like feeling okay with having, say, a unique path when it comes to material things. And what I mean by that is that for some people, depending on their activations, it is perfectly fucking aligned for them to desire to have the perfect nails, the perfect house, all the fancy things, the materialistic elements of being a human in this 3D experience, right? And then for other people, it is going to be perfectly in alignment for them to want nothing, right? To only want to make an impact in the world, to be quite happy living with nothing to their name, like a backpack full of a handful of minimalist possessions, and that's all they desire to have. So with an undefined or an open heart chakra, whatever your own unique version of that, what like soul wealth is to you, what money means to you, what self-confidence and self-worth journey you have been on is all so powerful when it can be at the forefront of your work. And when you can activate those codes, the more and more and more, and get comfortable with sharing it. Like undefined or open heart chakra is a very deeply triggered, often part of us. It is a deeply, deeply conditioned part of us, on par with the solar plexus, the emotional center. So it is really, really important to do the inner work, to do the healing, to allow yourself to transform, and to kind of understand that it is a true soul gift that you've come here with, and that it is a piece of magic for you to share, that you can trust that your unique path to abundance is your unique path to abundance, because you're not going to have that drive to go chase down your goals every single day as someone would who has a defined heart chakra. So you might be, for example, coached by someone who has a defined heart chakra, and their experience of what it takes to be successful and be driven and be consistent and have that within them is light years away from an undefined or open heart chakra that is going to go, hey, some days I feel like that. A whole lot of the rest of the time, I have a far more spiritual experience when it comes to what are these desires. They're evolving, they're transforming, they're changing. You know, I can see both sides of the coin. There is this big gray area when it comes to, you know, who am I to make this money? Who am I to be successful? Who am I to, you know, stand on a stage and make an impact, for example? So it is very much accepting your uniqueness, allowing it to come out, allowing it to be at the forefront of your work, and shining your light when it comes to all things to do with self-empowerment, because you can then provide an incredible empowering energy and gift, and share your wisdom with others around you who chances are going through exactly the same thing. You're like bringing your stories of self-love, self-worth. How has your relationship with yourself evolved over time? What self-judgments have you had to heal and transform, for example? Confidence in yourself, even though on the days when you might just feel like staying in bed all day, right? And again, like coming back to sharing wisdom about money in whatever way aligns for you. Speaking, money might not be at the core of your work. You might be someone who, let's just say, for example, you are someone who is a yoga teacher, and you have unique views around, you know, what it means to live an abundant life and to be prosperous. And there are so many layers to it that you would resonate with, perhaps, that are more than just monetary things, for example. Actually sharing about that is going to be a really powerful part of your work and your soul work, because the more in tune with your own vibration and your own human design and your own soul blueprint, you can then empower others who might be, you know, in a similar energetic vibration as you, who might have been feeling like, oh shit, but everyone seems to be setting these goals of like, if you're not making 6 figures in your business, you're not successful. And actually, I'm really fucking happy living my life in my tiny house, you know, in the middle of nowhere. I've got barely any bills because I'm self-sufficient. I'm off the grid. I grow my own produce, right? Like, so this is the thing. And it's something that I speak to a lot in my work about, like, what does prosperity mean to you? What does soul wealth mean to you? What does abundance mean to you? Because we all have completely unique definition, and it's one of the things that I feel really called to personally kind of myth bust on, in the sense of we get these keywords that suddenly pop up in online coaching spaces around 6 figures, 7 figures, and there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for here? There's a lot of smoke and mirrors when it comes to who defines what a 6-figure business looks and feels like and actually is, and what is the profit margin, and is that 6 figures as of a calendar year, or is that 6 figures over the space of 5 years, you know, and so on and so forth. So it very much is a powerful thing to weave into your work, even if the old undefined or open heart has been going, who am I to speak to this, because that's all part of the journey for someone with that in your, if you have that in your design. So now let's talk about the G center, which is the big diamond shape in the center of your body graph. I'm just going to have another sip of water. So your G center is your center of identity, direction, drive, sense of self, and it's also very deeply intertwined with love and love of life. So if you have an undefined or open G center, you're not here to stick to necessarily one singular identity or to have one fixed kind of sense of direction or drive. There is very much, can be a feeling like it's a bit of a chameleon-like existence when you have an undefined or open G center. And part of that journey of accepting, having awareness of, witnessing, being okay with that part of you is all part of that transformation that you can so powerfully share with other people around you, so that they can, in turn feel empowered if they've been feeling, how many times, if you are, say, a coach, for example, how many times have you had someone come to you saying they feel lost, they feel like they don't recognize themselves anymore, they've lost their sense of self, they don't know what direction they're going in, they're just, repeating old patterns of destructive relationship behavior because they're just sort of entering into relationship after relationship after relationship that's not right, because they just want to be with someone who gives them that sense of belonging and love and all of those things, right? That's undefined G center or open G center magic. Even though it might feel painful, even though it might feel like at the time it was complete chaos, the learning, the soul growth, the evolution is the biggest part to that. And, I know in my own life, that's been something that I've had to really grapple with, that I look back at some parts of my life and go, I don't even recognize that person. Who was that person? Like, she had no idea who she was. She had no sense of self. She had no sense of identity. She just blended into the group of whoever it was that she was hanging around with at that particular time or surrounding herself with at that particular time. So, it very much is that sense of the life journey, the evolution, and knowing that you've got incredible gifts for supporting others when it comes to identifying their purpose, their direction, because you've been through the process, because you've been through that experience yourself, you've had that deep, deep level of transformation within your own journey where you've understood what it feels like to be at that most lost, unsure, unsteady moment, and now you in turn can bring that and weave that into your work and your magic and your gifts that you're here to share, that abundance that comes from empowering others and from stepping into that role as that person who can say, hey, I can hold a candle up in the darkness for you so that you can learn how to empower yourself and how you can move forward in your own journey, navigating that life direction, empowering others to navigate that life direction. How you can, self-love and love and learning about empowered relationships and, couples counseling and, all of these things are so intertwined with it because, I guess just to speak to my own experience here that, I have an undefined G center and Darren, my partner, has a completely open G center. And I know he's also a mental projector, by the way. So that's a whole other kettle of fish, in terms of being with someone who, I feel very blessed that I have someone in my life that I am a complete energetic match for. And that's something that really I have experienced in the past that has been very difficult to navigate, of being around people who have a defined G center and kind of losing myself within that and not having any sense of clarity or room to breathe to be able to discover who I truly was. That's only come through over time of me choosing very carefully the environments I'm within. If you have an undefined or open G center, your environment and the people you surround yourself is paramount to helping you on this journey. So if you feel like you're still on the journey with it, that's something to take note of. And of course, it doesn't mean that you can't be in a relationship with someone who has a defined G center, none of that. No, just means that you can have that awareness to go, oh, okay, now I can understand why I'm so magnetized to being around you, because the two are like polar opposites of a magnet that are like sticking together. And, you know, then you can start to set those energetic boundaries and go, oh, okay, now I know where I end and you begin. Whereas before, it can feel very much like it's just this overwhelming sort of connection where you've suddenly lost that sense of who you were. You know, who were you before that other person, or who are you when you're not around that other person, for example. So these are all things around identity, love, direction, sense of self that are powerful, powerful parts of your unique abundance and the codes that you're here to transmit to others, to really empower them on their own journey through life and journey with these kind of things in their life. You know, the vulnerability here is also very high, because you have to be able to be willing to talk about those moments when it didn't work, or you were lost, or, you know, and so it's getting comfortable with sharing that. But it is so fucking powerful at the end of the day. Then we are now going to talk about the throat chakra. So on this little graphic here, you can see how this is directly above the G center, and this is your unique voice. And so if you have an undefined or open throat chakra, this is something where kind of the flip side of a lot of these undefined and open centers, we've been talking about how the majority of the world has it, you know, undefined. And this is another situation where the majority of the world has this defined, myself included. So this is a pressurized center. So even if you have it undefined or open, there is always going to feel a pressure here to be released, and even more so because you are amplifying and absorbing, soaking up like a sponge everything around you, and you're part of the 30% of the world who have this either undefined or open. If it's completely open, just know that it's a very rare thing to have in your design. And it is very much a unique way of showing up and sharing your voice. And this is something I love working with clients, you know, time and time again, to empower them to understand that actually it is not a negative thing. If you've been through life or into your soulpreneur business, for example, feeling like you just can't quite grasp why all these other people seem to be able to, you know, show up every day speaking to what's on their mind, or speaking about what's on their heart, or sharing their story, or speaking to their emotions, or, you know, those people that you might follow who seem to effortlessly be able to just jump on Instagram stories every single day and just speak to the camera, for example. They're going to typically be people who are part of the 70% of the world who have this defined. When you have it undefined or open, your gift here is to be a conduit for the voice of others. You are here to be someone who isn't necessarily going to be able to speak to your own things as easily and effortlessly as you are going to be able to speak to someone else's cause, or a cause that you are really passionate about, for example, or someone else's story that you maybe have heard and have permission to then use as an example in your soul work, for example. Speaking to pain points that your clients have come to you with. It's a very magical gift. It's very often someone who is gifted musically, or, you know, is an excellent singer, for example. It's that way of showing up and sharing your voice in a way that doesn't necessarily have to be speaking, right? It is understanding that you can show up and share your voice as a poet, as a writer, as an artist, as someone who facilitates powerful conversations. You can be someone who is an excellent public speaker, for example. It's knowing how to tap into your strategy, your authority, what is on, what is absolutely lighting your soul on fire. Those are the things that you're here to speak to, and having that energetic ebb and flow is your beautiful gift, because you've got the empathy and the ability to take on board other people's stories in a really powerful way, to listen to what other people have to say and have that deep understanding of what it is that they're sharing, for example, because you are so open through this part of you. So it is a beautiful wisdom to have about yourself, and it is a beautiful gift to learn how to master and share with the world, because you can then empower others in turn and know how to really kind of tap into your own authentic voice, right? Like, you are going to be someone who has got that gift of, when you do share something, it is going to be so fucking deep and transformational, and have that ability to quantum leap from one existence to another, or to exponentially change a scenario or a situation or your life or your business, because you are doing it in complete alignment with your soul and your energetics and your aura, and you're not simply just sharing something for the sake of sharing, right? You're not speaking for the sake of speaking, for example. It can be hard to master if you've got an undefined throat, is that you might feel like you've either got nothing to say or you can't stop babbling, right? So it really is learning how to know to tap in and to go, actually, you know what? I have a really unique gift. Most people around me don't have this. So I am going to trust that when I have something to say, it is so fucking powerful and transformational. And that is like the moment of absolute gold that could change someone's life, could be the most powerful thing my client has heard all year, for example. Like, these are really incredible gifts, and I really want to empower you to bring it to the forefront of your work, and even speak to the fact that you have an undefined or an open throat chakra, because it is so powerful for people, a little bit like when we touched on the thing about toxic productivity, right? And people actually, if you can actually show up and say, hey, you know what? It is perfectly okay to not always have something to say. Sometimes actually the powerful moment is in the silence, in the listening, in the absorbing, in the seeing what's going on. Like, those are incredibly powerful things to have, especially in this world that is typically praised loudness, noisiness, being the person who can shout the most, right? Like, we've all seen that in our old paradigm world that we're leaving behind. And this is your gift, to be able to be that person who is actually embodying that through and through, and to speak to that experience or share about that experience in whatever shape or form feels aligned for you. So it's very much being a conduit, being a channel, sharing about how you've learned to trust your voice, sharing about how you uniquely use it, whether you express it in a way that is artistic or writing or, physical expression, right? Like, there are so many different ways that you can share your voice, and that is something that the more you can maybe empower others by showing up and shining in, that is really beautiful. So allow yourself that activism as well. Undefined or open throat chakra is a really powerful voice for activism, for causes, for something that someone else maybe is needing or seeking, or something that really is a heart-led passion that you're a champion for. Like, you might not be able to speak about your own work, but then if somebody asks you to speak about dog rescues that you support, you might be able to talk for an hour, right? So this is something to really understand about yourself and empower yourself with. Now we've got our last two to cover, being the ajna first we're going to talk about, which is directly above the throat chakra. And with your ajna undefined or open, this is all about empowering yourself to explore your innermost mind curiosity, right? Like it's your mind, it's your consciousness, it's your way of seeing the world uniquely, and you will have an openness and a flexibility and a playfulness here that is unique to you. And it's being able to almost see other people's questions in a really deep way. So you can hold multiple points of view all at the same time and kind of have that unique kaleidoscope of perspectives and go, well, hey, yeah, I can see your point and I can see your point and I can understand your question and I see that you've got that question as well over there, and you can hold it all at the same time. And that gives you a really beautiful gift of compassion and understanding, and having a breadth of being across something in a way that is very, very different to someone with a defined ajna. And that will be, you know, if you have it defined, you typically have, this is the way I see things, this is how I understand. And it takes a lot longer for essentially someone to change their mind if they have a defined ajna and they haven't learned to sort of work with it in the way that is much more flexible or open. So for you, you've got a natural ability to always be flexible and open with your perspective, the way you see things. And it's just understanding as well that if you are around other people who have those very strong opinions, points of view, way their mind works, what they're here to share, like you're absorbing and amplifying that. So it can be really important for you to know that you take that time out. You have ways that you can kind of like empty out your busy mind, and you can kind of know that it's okay to have multiple points of view, or to have no opinion, or to have no point of view, for example. Like these are all things that I think is really, really important, because you know, again, our world that we have been heavily conditioned by is that, again, you have to be the loudest voice in the room. You have to have a strong opinion. You have to have an opinion. Like you can't not have an opinion, right? And you know, the world has been so ramped up, and, you know, with social media and things like that, of people constantly sharing like, this is what I see, this is what I know, this is what I understand. And when you are someone with that openness and that flexibility to be able to kind of like take it all on board, that's when that kind of like, it can be those overwhelm experiences that you've had in life of like, I just need to not, I just need to not go on social media, I need to not go online, I just need to kind of like take a break. Like those are all things that are really powerful experiences that you've been through, and the ways that you uniquely do essentially decompress your mind, what modalities, what techniques, what tools, meditation, movement, like physical exercise, mental exercise, all of these things, subconscious programming. You know, do you listen to meditations at night? Do you listen to deep like subconscious programming audios, or binaural beats, things like that? Like these are all things for you to share about and to empower others with, because there are so many other people who need that permission to be able to step into that power of being someone who can see a number of different perspectives, who can hold space for different perspectives as well, right? And to maybe lovingly be able to empower people who are coming in with this is the one thing that I see and understand, and to give them the permission to actually, you know what, it's okay for other people to have a different opinion. Like you can respect that, and you can also hold your opinion, right? Being someone who's really easily able to look at, say, like concepts or systems or, you know, strategies with a very flexible, dynamic mind. So this is a beautiful gift to share if if you are coaching someone, if you are working with other people, if you are, developing modalities, for example, because this is the flexibility that you're able to come at things in a way that is going to resonate with people, because you'll be able to see like, oh, I can see that you're uniquely worried or questioning about this, and then this other client I've got has got this other perspective, and you can work with both, or multiple ones simultaneously. It's very new paradigm, right? So it's understanding that it's okay for you to have the unique perspective on the world, and it's okay for you to share that perspective on the world, I think is what I want to sort of speak to here. So if you can and you feel comfortable with it and you feel empowered to, talk about your vision for the future. Talk about the patterns and the things that you see and the kaleidoscope that's going on for you in your mind's eye. Like, allow yourself to share that, because you will be absolutely amazed at, you know, if you can step into that in a powerful way and in an empowered way, so many people will connect to that around you. Then lastly, we have the Crown Chakra, and this is all about essentially your unique inspiration, stories, being able to, I guess, navigate the energies around you that might be, you know, the thoughts, the ideas, the doubts, the questions that might be going on in the world. So it is a beautiful gift, and essentially is what we call being open-minded as well, right? That with this side of you, it is very much the creative mind, the creative brain, being able to learn from experience and then share from that. Showing others what is possible in life is a really powerful gift of an undefined or open crown. So it's kind of like taking all that inspiration that you'll constantly be receiving, because you can just get inspired by being out in the world around you. You know, anything that you see or hear or interact with is going to potentially be absorbed and amplified in your crown chakra. So it's those things of like those flashes of divine inspiration or connection, or, you know, what has suddenly like dropped into your head almost, that have like radically changed things overnight for you. And again, what practices or rituals or routines do you have that really nurture this part of you because of the openness here? Because it can be very easy, again, to be suddenly full of like all the doubts that you've taken on board and amplified and absorbed from the world around you. Again, something like social media, spending too much time on that, you're going to suddenly be filled with all these things that you've read about or watched or heard and taken on board. So there's a powerful vulnerability there again when you're able to speak to the fact that, yes, you do get flooded with so many questions suddenly in your mind, that you do suddenly have like this moment of doubt that comes in, or that you suddenly wake up and you're like, oh, I've just got like a head full of all this stuff. And so, you know, being able to be vulnerable about that, share about that, and then in turn go, hey, this is what I experience, but these are the ways I navigate it. This is how I work through it. This is what I know are kind of in my self-care toolkit, for example, that I continually work on my headspace and work on making sure that I'm kind of like emptying out everything that, if you can imagine, it's like a sponge soaking up all the energetics from around you. Like, what do you do to wring out that sponge and make sure it's light and fluffy and like, you know, ready to go for a new day, for example? So it's a very easy come, easy go existence with an undefined or open crown chakra. And that is something to be really standing strong within, right? Again, similar to, as we just discussed with the ajna, like, it's okay to have that easy come, easy go, to get inspired, to be lit up by something, and then equally the next day to be like, oh, you know, that was yesterday, like, new day, new blank slate, for example. So it is really powerful to learn to share that, empower others with that. How can you kind of speak to that enjoyment of the now energy that you might have within you? It's like staying open to all the possibility and wonder of life, and it's got a real kind of inner child embodiment energy to it. So if you can, and you feel like you are in a place where you can share that, that's so powerful, because there are so many people who possibly have been conditioned to believe that that's not okay, to have that kind of freedom and flexibility and openness there. So yeah, it really is a beautiful gift to stand strong in and to share those codes and activate those codes within you, so that, you know, you can share those transformations and that transmission of that uniqueness that comes with being open or undefined in the crown chakra. Just gonna have another sip of water. So we've now covered all of the 9 centers and chakras. And of course, as I mentioned at the start of this session, there are many, 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 many other ways and shapes and areas to dive into when it comes to understanding your unique soul abundance, your prosperity, your unique activations that you've come here with in your soul blueprint. And as I say, I just love to speak to this and share about this. And you know, I've been so grateful to be able to share this transmission with you, because as someone with 7 undefined and open centers in my own human design, it's a really big part of my soul work and what I'm here to empower other soulpreneurs and you know, soul calling business epic beings with this knowledge. So to help, you know, to transform the way that we can see these parts of ourselves, so that we can actually see them, that there are soul wisdom, there are empathic gifts, they're turning into a butterfly and evolving, the evolution time and time and time again. And where we're able to amplify our magic and the way we show up in the world is completely unique through these undefined and open centers and chakras, and also the unique intermingling of the energies that is unique to you, obviously, as well. So, you know, you might feel like, I guess at times, you know, for example, you might feel like you're surrounded by all these people who are doing very similar soul work to you. You know, it's so common when we're on Instagram, for example, and we suddenly go, oh my God, everybody is doing the same thing as me. And you start to have those moments where you're like, oh, well, they've been doing it longer, they have more followers, etc., 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 right? But this is the true beauty of having clarity on your human design, because, you know, and your astrology and your gene keys, because you can have that clarity on how you are so fucking completely unique. And as we've gone through today, you know, there are so many permutations of these combinations of things that, you know, I've read for twins, for example, who have, even though they were born like, you know, only a few minutes apart, have different human design elements at a really low level. You know, it's like 99% of it's the same, but like there are 1 or 2 little things that are different. And that's what fascinates me. And I really feel called to share, because, you know, at that deep level, why wouldn't you own that you are like, you know, a 1 in 4, 5, 6 billion chance of being that unique activation that you are? Why wouldn't you remind yourself every single day just how special and magical you are? Why wouldn't you show up and shine, you know, in those soul gifts that you came here with, the unique set of gifts that you came here with in this incarnation, in this lifetime around? Like, you know, there are no mistakes, there are no accidents. You came here with everything you need inside you, and it's all about unlocking it, allowing for that soul expansion, and also like it all happening in the aligned timing for you, right, as well. That there is no being too late to this, right? It all happens at the perfect moment that it is meant to, that we uncover these parts to our soul and our soul essence. So, and I can guarantee that the soul codes you came here with are going to be activated in, you know, in such a unique way that is completely and totally and utterly the way it was supposed to happen for you. And only you have the potential that you have, right? And that's honestly something that just makes me so deeply happy to share. Incredibly, I just, you know, there's no word to even describe it, of when I see someone who is stepping into their soul path, their soul calling, who they came here to be, embodying their soul purpose. Like, there isn't really a word to describe how it makes me feel, but it just is that moment of just complete and utter just delight, and you know, that brilliance about someone is just, you know, you will have seen it in other people will have seen it in you. When someone is in their alignment and their flow, they just glow, right? And that's the thing, is that it's just that glowing from the soul that I love to be able to be part of that journey with people just like yourself. So, you know, it is a really powerful, powerful wisdom and clarity to give yourself. It is a powerful permissions lift to give yourself. And I just am incredibly grateful for you being here with me on this session, on this transmission. And as part of this soul work that I'm doing, it continues to expand, it continues to evolve, it continues to grow. So without further ado, that I have been dying to share with you all, I am introducing one of my next soul gifts to share with you, a potent invitation that I want to extend your way, that I am releasing for the first time into the world, Intuitive Empire, which is my new paradigm soulpreneur business offering. This is the only program of its kind. It is my ajna connected to my throat chakra by the 4323 channel, which is all about genius insight that kind of is a little bit new world ahead of its time. That's part of my soul contract that I came here with, to do things in a very unique way. So this is my weaving together intuitively of elements of human design, gene keys, astrology, as I empower you and I give you the tools and the modalities and the knowledge and the wisdom to intertwine into your own soulpreneur business, your soul work, your soul calling. And it really is, at the end of the day, just me sharing with you everything I know about building a soul aligned business, growing, whatever word you want to put on growth, expansion, amplification, scaling, whatever that word you or label you want to put on it, but in a way that is completely aligned for you, and you're doing it with clarity on your own unique soul magic. Like, that's the biggest part of it for me, is that I deeply desire to be able to hand you the keys so that you can unlock your own genius and not feel like you are just being given somebody else's template to follow, because that's something that I know I've been through many times myself, and I've had to learn the hard way a lot of times that what might have worked for someone else wasn't correct and aligned for me. And so that's why I'm so deeply called to share with you Intuitive Empire, because it is all about my learnings and my transmissions that I am handing to you to go, here's how you can work with your soul blueprint and just absolutely shoot off into the stars in the way that is in complete energetic alignment with you, with your soul, with your blueprint, with your aura, with your energetics, with your unique set of gifts and magic that you came here with. So Intuitive Empire at its core, the deets, is that this is a 7-module online program. It will have Q&A opportunities throughout, but in a way that I run Q&As that is very unique. I don't just do like an hour or 2 hour Q&A session. I do them in a way that is very much more being able to dive into questions as they come in and be able to offer a resource that is easily searchable and easily interactable, that you don't have to sit there for a whole training just waiting for your question, for example. Projector efficiencies, right? And also there will be astrological and moon wisdom that I am going to be sharing throughout this 7-module time together while Intuitive Empire is in its first iteration. And really at its core, Intuitive Empire empowers you to go about creating sustainable and soul-aligned online courses, online trainings, online programs, and also establishing passive revenue streams so that you can quit kind of trading time for dollars, right? Or you can add to your exchange of time for dollars in a way that is passive revenue, because let's face it, we are soulpreneurs, new paradigm business. Making money while you sleep is like the ultimate thing, right? Especially as an undefined sacral, it's like the ultimate business dream and desire of mine to empower other people with, and empowering you to share your magic and embody your abundance codes that are unique within you in a way that, similar to how we've discussed today, right? Like taking that, adding so many more layers and nuances to it, so that you can receive those quantum leaps in abundance, so that you can absolutely grow and scale and amplify your impact, your prosperity that you are here for. And it's also understanding that this is soulpreneur business that grows as you grow. That's what Intuitive Empire is about. Like, I don't want this to be something that it feels heavy or overwhelming, or like, oh, I'm not ready for that yet. Like, this is something that you can start no matter where you are. So this expands and gives you the potential to expand as your capacity expands, right? Like, as we touched on, nervous system, money blocks, all of these things. Intuitive Empire pays attention to that. It's not just going, hey, this is only a one-stop shop, one size fits all. You have to already be at this position and ready here in order to have success in your business. It's going, hey, this is something that can be applicable no matter where you are on your soulpreneur journey. So whether you are, I'm a stand for start wherever you are, right? So it's like, whether you are already full-time in your soul calling work, whether you are growing it, whether you are starting out, whether you are still, in a situation or continue to be in a situation where you're working in a job, which so many people are. And I just, by the by, like, really am passionate about making it feel okay for people to have a job and also do their soul work, right? Like, this is not an either or scenario. Sometimes actually our greatest soul gifts need to be supported by something that is, a regular paycheck, right? I think if you've ever read Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, she has like a whole incredible chapter on that whole topic, just without getting too much off into a tangent. And, of course, with me, always Cosmic Witch, having one eye on the stars, it's an opportunity that I felt called to share that allows you to invest in yourself and your soul business now, potentially hitting that cosmic highway, like as we roll into 2022, right? Like, running, you can be up and running and potentially with these things in your soul business, ready to go, feeling really empowered, having them set up and established in a way that allows you to enter into the energy of 2022 with an incredible piece of soul support and just feeling like you are absolutely activated and at your highest vibration potential, which I know you already are. Like, you already have it within you. So this is just like amplifying that, unlocking it, allowing it to shine in your unique way that is true for you. So, it really is something that I wanted to share, that is my calling around going deep and empowering you to work within your own energetics. Like, other courses that might teach you how to, say, build an online course or create passive income in your business, they're gonna, come at it from, typically in my experience, that logical old paradigm, very masculine structure. They might teach you, say, the step-by-step formula that worked for that particular person, that particular coach, that particular mentor. And they're going to go, here, this is the like paint by numbers approach that I did here, steal my email transcripts, my copy, like, this is how I did it. This is what worked for me. And I just am so passionate about saying, like, it's all well and good to have those masculine structures in place, but we have to interweave the soul as well. And I am a quad left in my human design, so I naturally vibe very much with strategic planning, masculine elements and energies in my own business. However, I have a deep awareness and understanding of and resonance with and cultivation of my divine feminine that comes as a loving counterbalance to that, for example, so that it is weaving in the soul. It is understanding that not everybody is here to run their business in that fashion, and here's my permission slip for you to understand your unique energetic dynamics within your business as well. So, as I say, I am just truly fucking excited to bring this body of work to life. It's like everything I know, everything I've learned, everything I've been through that I'll be sharing with you. And I'm inviting you to join this epic community of incredible women And of course, to celebrate that we are in such a potent time of newness and creation and Sagittarius season, I'm not just sharing this in a way that is the standard old paradigm. Here, I've done a free masterclass and I'm now launching a product for you to, consider. Nah, we're not doing that. So I desire for 2022 and beyond to be your most magical experiences, one of the most magical experiences in your soulpreneur journey. So in saying that, I have a special pre-launch series of bundles that I am sharing with you, and I am extending an invitation for you that will be available from now as I'm sharing this masterclass through until midnight New Zealand time on the 5th of December. So we've got a period of time that these bundles are available at the price they are being offered at, and with the bonuses that they are being offered at, which is the key here, that the bundles are going to continue to evolve as my offers evolve. The bonuses are the real juicy goodness that's coming along with this opportunity that I'm just so excited to share with Intuitive Empire. So I guess I just have to mention that if you tuned into this purely for the masterclass wisdom, then I thank you, I honor you, and that I would love to hear how this transmission has transformed things for you in your own soulpreneur business. And just to let you know that the training part of this session and this transmission has completed, it's concluded. But of course, I invite you to stay a little while longer and to, if it feels aligned for you. And I am incredibly excited to share the special pre-launch of these bundle offerings that are being shared for the first time ever. And this is the first time that I have ever offered something like this in my business. So it's very exciting. Let me have a drink of water with all this talking. So as I say, we're in the pre-sale period now. So this is going from now as I release this video through till the 5th of December, midnight New Zealand time. And I have 3 bundles that I am releasing, and they each have special bonuses attached. So the first being called the Celestial Expansion Bundle, and this is really like the big kahuna, the big cosmic collection. This is like everything my heart can share, my undefined heart can share with you when it comes to soulpreneur business. This is really aimed at if you are someone who really wants to go into 2022 going like, I have everything at my fingertips and I am ready to fucking go, right? Like I want it all. I want to absorb it all. I want to soak it all in. I want to work through it all over the coming months. And this includes Intuitive Empire that will be beginning on the 16th of December. It includes access immediately to my Human Design Reader training program. So this is weaving in a knowledge and a deep understanding of how to read human design. Everything I teach in there is equipping you to be able to do a human design reading, add human design knowledge and wisdom into your current modalities or coaching programs or offerings that you have in your soul work. And it also gives you completely free bonus access to my upcoming Soul Filled Socials program that is going to be beginning in the new year around about the beginning of February. I'll be releasing details on that into the new year. So it's very exciting. This is like the whole big everything bundle. And the bonuses that come with this, if you enroll in this bundle before the 5th of December, is that you will also receive a cosmic forecast reading for the first quarter of 2022, which covers January to March. And my cosmic forecasts look at your specifically one-on-one, your human design, your astrology, and gives you my wisdom and knowledge on what's going on for you in terms of aligned and divine timing that comes from not only your human design, your unique energetics, but in conjunction with the energies of what's going on around us. It is the perfect kind of complement to planning in your business, to knowing when the energies are going to be really in flow for certain activities, certain decision making, certain releases, launches, potentially, you know, what you might be putting out and sharing in the world. So it's really something that I have been absolutely loving being able to share. And at the moment, like, I'm fully booked for it. So the only way that you would be able to get a cosmic forecast for the first quarter, for January to March, is if you take advantage of these bundles. They're not open for regular enrollment. So there are, with the Celestial Expansion Bundle, there are those incredible, just astronomically great value bonuses that are coming along. And then the second bundle that I have available is the Intuitive Empire Bundle. So this is focused on if you are not desiring the human design reader training component and you just want the Intuitive Empire course program that is going to be coming up starting 16th December, and also would like the soul-filled socials, everything around social media, sharing your voice, marketing, your messaging in complete alignment with your human design, your astrology. We go into personal branding, we go into all sorts of incredible things. There's tutorials, and it's very much in a way of my 6-2 profile take on social media and how we socially interact and how we can be showing up and sharing our message and our medicine and our wisdom in a way that, again, truly aligns for your soul. So there is a bonus also that comes with the Intuitive Empire Bundle. That is, if you take advantage before the 5th of December, that is the Cosmic Forecast reading for the first quarter of 2022 with that bundle as well. And then the third bundle is the Human Design Goddess Bundle. And so this is for someone who, if you have been wanting to do your human design reader training, if you have been wanting to deepen your knowledge and understanding and wisdom around human design, and you've been wanting to step it up to that next level, this is an opportunity to jump in on my human design reader training Ascend. Right now it's available immediately. It's a completely self-study, self-paced program, and covers everything you need to know to give a full human design reading. And you also, with that bundle, will receive access to Soul-Filled Socials when that begins in the new year as well. So the Ascend is already ready to go and you get immediate access, and then Soul-Filled Socials is coming in the new year around about early February, and I'll be confirming details of that because that will be a program that we go through live over a series of modules over sequential weeks. So those are the 3 bundles. There is even more goodness, can you believe, for each of these bundles, that those all have their own before the 5th of December. And did I mention that the Human Design Goddess Bundle, that also has the Cosmic Forecast for the first quarter reading, if you take advantage of that by the 5th of December. Even more goodness is that on top of all of that, if you are within the first 10 women who jump in on one of these bundles, you will receive an additional bonus cosmic forecast. So that would give you 6 months worth of wisdom from January through till June 2022 for all your aligned divine timing around planning, launching, areas of your business that are going to be highlighted, times that are going to be supercharged for you, all of that goodness, so that you can basically have the first half of 2022 complete clarity on how your business is going to be running at its most, energetically aligned and highest vibration, where your planetary activations are, where the sun is going to be, where the moon is going to be, all of that goodness that I share with you. And that is a one-on-one forecast that is based on your human design, your astrology. So it's not a generic, here's what's happening in the stars. It is like, I'm looking at your chart and I'm doing a deep dive into things. And they are so fucking powerful and transformational. And it's such a gift to be able to share these with people that I already, as I say, there is no way to book these outside of these bundles. They are completely sold out. So it is really just a deep heartfelt gratitude to be able to add these in as a bonus to go with these special bundles, to go with this potent time of activation. So a quick note that if you're watching this and you are already in and enrolled in my human design reader training, if you are already in Ascend at the time that you're, that I'm releasing this, that you will have received a special message from me around the specific bundle upgrade that I have for you, that if that's only applicable to people who are already in my human design reader training prior to this masterclass. So just a little love note for you ladies, that you can look out for that special notification and bundle upgrade option that is exclusive to you, because I love my soul women in my life so much, and I just am endlessly thankful and endlessly grateful. So as I say, I am so deeply honored to share this space with you. I thank you again, just from the depths of my soul, for being here, for spending this time with me. Cannot wait to see you over in on all those bundle offers if they call to you. And of course, if you have any questions, please send me through a DM. I love you so much. I'm sending big virtual hugs your way. The way you can jump in on those bundle offers is via the link in my bio, or you can go over to my website, rosetautari.com, and you can find them all there. And of course, if you really need help with finding any of the links or whatever, you will see them in my stories. There'll be a saved story highlight. You can DM me. It's in all the places. It's in all the things. So I just am so excited. Cannot wait to see you over in there. And I just send you so much love. Thank you.